favorite coaches,
Howard
and LaRonda Johnson.
It's his.
Plus hers equals ours.
So today, we're going to be talking about what men want.
And what women want.
Do we want the same things?
Pretty much. When you look at the basic stuff, we pretty much want the same thing. As you said, like friendship.
Intimacy.
Respected.
Fun.
Be loved.
And we all want support. So it's a few basic things that everybody wants. But is that all we want?
No, and having this conversation with my husband, we talked about this, we spoke about this before, but just getting more insight on what men want, like picking his brain a little more, his man brain. I wouldn't say little, I'm sorry. His man brain on what do you really want from us as women? Like, what are you really looking for? Like, I want like the deep, dark secrets of that you all are not telling us. I know.
Deep, dark secrets?
Of what you really want. I know as women, we have all these things. We want to be understood. But yes, I do understand that part as far as not knowing sometimes how to say the words, get the words, how we feel about certain things. Like, as my husband said on last week, if you watched our video, what we want to eat, where we want to go and eat at, those simple things.
Boils down to y'all expect us to be mind readers to a certain extent because we're supposed to not only read your body language, but then you stare into our eyes like we have ESP and can pick up on what you're thinking. Because a couple times you'd be like, babe, what am I thinking? And I'll be like, I have no idea. I don't know what you're thinking. So I'm going to need you to verbalize it. So a lot of that has to go into what we're talking about today, as far as verbalizing and making it known. For us men, occasionally we have the tendency to feel demasculated because of some of the things that we like. And we don't really know how to express that without feeling like, wait a minute, is this making me soft? And we don't want to appear soft in front of you all, and we want to still keep this machismo about ourselves. So, one of the things that I know that men want that we don't really verbalize a lot is romantic gestures and intimacy, and I'm not talking about sexual intimacy. I'm talking about spending time cuddling or, just hugged up on the couch watching a movie, being able to look into each other's eyes, turn all the phones off, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, and just talk and to look into each other's eyes and express love without having interference. That's a huge one for a lot of guys because a lot of times we don't know how to communicate that to you, I want to be loved, baby.
Or just tell me, hold me. I want to be held. I
ain't got no problem saying that myself.
Instead of we sit on the couch and we watching a movie, just say, hey, can I be the one cuddle up in your arms instead of me holding you? Stuff like that. I wouldn't mind that. We've done that before. And as we gonna tell y'all, we super transparent, so it ain't we gonna be so yeah, you do. We have those moments where it's vice versa. That's because I believe society have us women and men trying to look a certain way. So
they put a stigma on it, sir. Yeah. A certain view in which men are supposed to keep up and not supposed to. I grew up in an era where, you're not supposed to cry and you're supposed to stay very macho through everything. Because that's when, the 80s, that's when all the macho shows was on TV and all that stuff. And you got to have this, Miami Vice cool to you, but you still got to have that Mr. T, a pity the fool type, attitude towards certain things, But honestly, we want a lot of the same things that women want, but it's not as, how do I put this? It's not as soft or as fluffy, if I can say that, as what women want. Women feel, I feel, let me correct this. I feel that women have a very soft and gentle touch and very gentle view of the way that they want to be treated. And a lot of times we have the same view, but we don't speak it in that manner. So, one of the things that we as men love is for when women take initiative. Like, we don't always want to be the aggressor or the person that has, to make all the moves, so to speak.
Wait a minute. What's the moves, so to speak?
It seems like...
Are you talking about like sexual moves?
Yes,
okay.
I am definitely talking about when it comes to...
like make a plane.
Okay, when it comes to the bedroom, like, we don't want to always be the ones that's initiating the sexual contact. We sometimes, and I'm speaking for myself, sometimes I want you to come at me like, hey, big boy, how you doing? But I'm just saying, like, we want to be, what happens is when you take the initiative, or when you're the aggressor in a situation, we feel wanted. We feel like you have a desire for us and not us always showing our desire for you, because at some point it feels like that's the only desire that is in that part of the relationship.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So how do you feel as a man, like when I come up to you and just give you a hug, like you may be cooking or doing some dishes and stuff. See, we don't have like gender roles in our house neither. So that's just for us. That's what works for us. So sometimes when he's doing dishes, I walk up and I just hug him from the back. So how does that make you feel? Because I know in movies and stuff, majority of the time, in videos and all of that in society, most of the time is the women maybe cooking or doing dishes or doing something, and the male approaches.
But I've seen it in movies too, where the woman comes up when her husband's either cooking or washing dishes and hugs him from the back.
Right.
But
how does that make you feel?
For me personally, it's like, oh, my baby loves me. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know
what I'm saying, that's taking initiative and doing something that's romantic. That's
a romantic gesture.
Okay.
That right there to me is what I consider romantic gesture. I don't consider that necessarily initiative. Like, but this is my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. So you have your own personal opinion. But what I feel like the initiative is that when I come home from work or whatever it may be, that I'll be like, if I don't see you in the living room, I don't see you in the kitchen, I don't see you, in any of the, commonly used spaces where the family be at, and I come into our bedroom and I'm like, hey, what is this? Like, are you up there with your, sexy little lingerie on or whatever it may be? And we don't always have to be the ones that put the rose petals on the bed or, and to light the candles and all this stuff. We want y'all to do that too. So that's what I consider initiative when it comes to that type of situation.
And see, with women, it's almost like the opposite. That's what I was saying. That's why I asked you, like, that part of it, like coming from behind you and just giving you a hug. Because a lot of times us women, that's our way of working up to it. It's like that little flirtatious type thing that leads up to it. Not all the time. Most of us women just go straight in for the kill. Like, go straight in. So yeah, when that...
Try it. Try going straight in for the kill.
But sometimes, like you said, when you come home, it's that surprise moment, because a lot of times we already done worked up to that. It's already in our head. We planning. It's like, hey, okay now. So when you come home, it is that surprise. But a lot of times for us women, it takes that foreplay, or it takes that flirtatious type thing going on. Whether it's the touching, all those different things that comes with the intimacy part, or just the intimacy part. So and it might be text messages going back and forth, like, hey boo, what's going on with you? So you'll know during the language part of like, oh, okay, so us women, so that's that understanding part. Like, we want to be understood and we want to be heard. So a lot of times it's not that we're saying so much, but it may be just those gestures, those non-verbal cues that we giving you all that may lead up to that. So a lot of times, sometimes, like we said, we're going to be very transparent, and because we want you to get a full understanding, we don't like people to be like, maybe they marriage is, but we experience a lot of things too, but we also have found balance in like majority of the stuff that we have, what comes with a relationship. So with that, like, there's times where I surprised him. It was times where he worked late shifts. So coming home at like 2:30 in the morning, and I have like glass of wine and some strawberries and all of that stuff already set up on ice, and he didn't even know about it.
I'm going to tell y'all something. When she does stuff like this, it just blows my mind. And I'll be like, man, look, why can't this happen more often? But realistically, it doesn't, because it wouldn't be as special. You know what I'm saying? It's moments like, okay, us men, we give flowers all the time, or we give her favorite candy all the time. She told me one day, she's like, hey, bruh, chill out with the flowers. Hey, the Tootsie Rolls, bring me something different. Like, because I knew what her favorite thing was Tootsie Rolls. So I would bring them to her all the time. She's like, no.
And it wasn't like I didn't appreciate them, but it was just that, first of all, I've never really communicated to him that I really didn't care too much about flowers, because I couldn't keep them alive. So I felt like it was a waste of money. I would rather like get something else, like maybe some chocolate or a purse or something else. You know what I'm saying? Some shoes or something. Besides,
buy some fake flowers if you have to. That way they ain't got to worry about dying.
So it was something like, it was those different things, even though he was doing it a lot. I mean, like, especially like my favorite candy, like he was talking about the Tootsie Rolls. I mean, like, I'm talking about like 2 or 3 times a week. And it's like, I haven't even ate the other bag yet.
So it was a stockpile of Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, so he was just like so excited because he knew that made me happy. However, like he said, sometimes doing the same thing over and over again becomes repetitive, and
it's
that goes
overload.
Yeah, so that goes into like, try something new, like do something new. So like sometimes my husband be like, yeah, let's go out to eat, and then I'm like, okay. Or sometimes I plan a date night, and I have everything planned out, the restaurant and everything. And I asked him this before. I think I did before the first time I did it. If he had a problem with me, if I set up a date night and I paid. Like, I paid for everything. Like, I planned it and I paid for it.
And see, that brings up the point. She just jumped into the point that I was going to make. And it's like 3 different points all in the same one. It's be innovative. In other words, be innovative, take the wheel. And, sometimes offer to pay. Even though we're not about to let that happen. Most guys ain't about to let that happen. If you offer to pay the check for the bill, like nowadays, oh yeah, go ahead, baby. I already know where it's coming from. You understand what I'm saying? It's coming from our joint account. So it's like, yeah, go ahead and pay for it. That's awesome. So, it's like, yeah, it's our money anyway. So that's all good. So, but take the wheel. In other words, a lot of us, men, we love to show women new things. We love to show our wives or our spouse or our girlfriends new stuff. Sometimes we want to see something new without having to, be the one to innovate that. When I say innovate, that means doing something different. So, like, there's been times where, like, it's been a couple times where my wife was like, look, I just need you to get your stuff together and let's go. I'm like, where we going? She was like, don't worry about that. We'll find out when we get there. I love that. I really do love that, because that's me. I'm spontaneous all day. I'm quick to tell her, look, you pack a bag, don't pack a bag. I don't care. We'll buy some clothes when we get there. We get where? Don't worry about it. Get in the car. And sometimes that spontaneousness is some of the most amazing times that you will ever have, because you allowed yourself to be free. You allowed yourself to let your inhibitions, as far as like, or your prehensiveness about, oh, what's going to happen? Where are we going? Do we have this? Do we have that? You got to let that go sometimes. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be financially jacked up when you come back, and then you be like, oh God, it's so worse than it was before we even left. Or, put yourself in a position where, you have business to handle. You already have things that have been set up, meetings, whatever it may be, unless you have already rescheduled. And that's why planning comes into mind. But we'll talk about that a totally different day. But you have to make sure that you're keeping your relationship fresh. And this is one of the things that men love, and I'm sure women love it too, but the fresh perspective, being able to do things new all the time, or, go back to something that you haven't done in a long time and be like, wow, I remember this, or this place, we love this place. Like, it helps to be able to, just sometimes you have to step into the other person's way of thinking. Yeah. And a lot of times that's hard to do, because for us men, like I said, we are not mind readers. So I've done this before though. Like I switched it up on her. I'm like, babe, what am I thinking? She'll guess though. She will literally guess. I'll be like, nope. I'll be like, nope. No.
It depends on what it is. Like, I'm like, well, what are we talking about? And then I'm like, and then it's easier for me to guess.
So if I say food, she can nail me when it comes to food for the most part. Because I mean, even with me being a chef, most of the time she knows what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's about like we said, about having fun. Keeping that fun, that spunk going on, so it outweighs like the uncomfortable times, or what you would say the bad times in your relationship when you're not seeing eye to eye. You have a disagreement and you can't resolve it right away. So it helps so much just doing things different. Even with that, we found ourselves in like situations where we don't agree. So now we kind of like not even talking to each other for real. It's like, I just need my space. He needs his space. Ooh. And so at those times is your mind is already going. It's either going and thinking about the scenario that's going on, or you may have that little cue of like, let me just go give him a hug, or let me go give him a hug, or just a kiss, or whatever it is, to soften the blow, to like get all that negative energy gone. And so that's that part where you just being vulnerable, and like my husband saying, just knowing what the other person want. And so neither one of y'all want to be upset with each other.
And men, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because what's going to happen in the long run is that she's going to see that you have a tenderness towards her. And a lot of times we've had moments where we were in arguments and stuff, and we both had to be like, you know what? I don't want to talk right now. She'd be like, you know what? I'm going over here. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk. But it takes one of you, just one of you, to say, babe, can I have a hug?
And it might be one of them stiff hugs you just like.
But as long as she might be stiff or he might be stiff, but as long as you're the one asking for the hug, be sincere about it. And you hug them with all your loving and your everything that you have in you, the passion that you have towards them. And that will transfer to them. They'll feel your energy. So it helps to, and that's a topic for another day also, how to deal with, what was the term we said, being able to argue in a civilized manner. But at that point, it doesn't become an argument. It becomes a discussion. Yeah. But that's another time. So, the only thing about it is that I feel that women want us men. One of the main things that women want from us is to show that vulnerability. Not like constantly out. Like my wife says she loves the fact that I'm a manly man, because she's like, you don't mind working on a car. You don't mind getting your hands dirty. I know for a fact that somebody was to mess with us, you will be protecting us.
Right. If I got slapped.
Word to the wise.
Right. If I got slapped or something.
Don't mess with. It ain't gonna be no Kevin Hart moment where you just got slapped. No. No. And I will repent after the beating that's coming. I'm trying to tell you. I'm sorry. Yes, I will protect this lady with everything that, like, I'm a big guy. Don't try my wife. Please and thank you. And my kids, but that's the thing. That's our role. That's why we feel like, we got to keep this, a level of masculinity at a certain point. But the only time that, not the only time, but majority of the time when you're with your lady, you're with the one that you love, that's when you can be vulnerable because you know that you feel safe. So, man, I'm trying to tell you, like, I asked her the other night, I said, babe, can you hold me? And she did exactly that. And you know what? We love to make y'all feel safe. I love to make you feel safe. I love the fact that you tell me when I'm here, you feel safe. My kids tell me when I'm here, Dad, we feel safe. But sometimes we need that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we need to know that we can drop all the machismo. We can take everything and just set it off to the other side of the bed while I'm being held. Because I need to feel this in this moment. I need to let my guard down. And I can let my guard down with you and still feel safe.
And the women want the same thing. And we need to know that with men being vulnerable, I would say, I speak for myself, with my husband being so vulnerable with me, that allows him to be honest. And then it allows me to be open and to be able to receive him like in a whole different level. And then it's because it makes him look so transparent. Like, I know him. Like, I know you. Like, I know you. Not so much like, who is this dude? Like, okay, like, I don't know who this is. Like, you feel so close off that I don't even know you. You won't let me in. But when he got to that point, because it was times like the beginning of our marriage and things like that, early on in our marriage, it was like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like pulling teeth. Yeah, like,
it was
I'm pulling. I'm like trying to get all these words out of him. Like, how you feeling? Like, I want to know what you feel. And we talked about that before. Like, I want to know, like, let me in. Like, I'm knocking, let me in. Because then it started making me put up walls and stuff. Like, well, I'm not going to tell him everything what's going on with me. Because he's not being open. But then as he started doing like little stuff and he realized that, okay, well, when I do certain things and tell her certain things, she doesn't react. So that's another thing too, as women, is that we don't need to react. Sometimes we need to adapt, like he said, some of the things that males do. Like sometimes I can tell him something, or you can tell your spouse or your significant other something. And they just sitting there listening. And sometimes we want a response, and then sometimes we don't. We just want them to,
you get a response at the wrong time.
And so with that is that's what they want from us too. They want to be able to tell us things as their spouse or significant other, girlfriend, fiance, or whatever, and to be like, I'll let that go. Like, I can be open with her, and she don't have to do all these facial expressions like, ooh. Like,
questioning your masculinity. It's not what if she really loves you, she's not going to do that.
Right. Or not even there. Just be like, is he soft? Like, don't be coming over here crying. I mean, if that's something that you dealing with, hey, that's you. But I'm just saying, most women, we want that because.
Don't get it twisted. There are some men that are more sensitive to people's emotional needs than others.
Yeah.
But most of us try to keep this,
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to do that. You just, like my husband said, it's about having that balance, but also just being able to, but we as women have to make them feel comfortable enough for them to come and talk to us and be vulnerable and be open, because we want the same thing. A lot of times, even we just want to tell you like what's going on with this. We don't need you to fix it. And sometimes they go into that fixing mode. Okay, so what do you need me to do?
But that we want to help. Mm-hmm. And we feel even more needed when we can help. It's not, and sometimes literally, like you just said, the help is not to fix it. The help is to listen. So you have to be very discernful about the moments in which you should listen, and in the moments in which you should give a response. So, with that said, give us a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
So we were discussing what men want and what women want.
Yes.
And honestly, I feel like it boils down to the main part of a relationship, communication. Honestly, I feel like if we as men, why you laugh?
Because you said it was strong. He said that kind of strong. Like
we as men have to be able to be vulnerable and sensitive at the right times and express the fact, baby, can you hold me? I just want you to hold me. You know, or see, one thing I don't want to say is, baby, can you initiate? Can you be innovative with, you know, our sex life? I feel like it's something that it should be done on the person's own behalf. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, and she would or would not tell you that I am instantaneous. I could think about her and I could be like, how you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's right.
And, you know, for most women, that is not the case. It takes that intimacy, that, baby, you know, I love you, just, you know, kiss on the cheek, hit that neck area. Like, it takes, I don't.
Just about to say work. It's a process. And I believe because as women, we tend to think about so many things throughout the day that blocks us from getting from that busy life, that busy everyday life.
What's that song that they used to sing? Who was it that sung that song? Free your mind and the rest will follow.
Yeah.
See, but that's true.
Yeah. But then it leads up to that. So it gets you to that point where you are spontaneous a lot more. But with us women, as we talked about early on, is that it may take that touch, that, you know, all those cues, physical cues of like the touching, the intimacy part, the hugging. It may take all of that, the foreplay in the bedroom, all of that for us to, like he said, free your mind so that you can be that way in the bedroom. But also with women, I'm gonna go back and talk about the vulnerability part. What my husband was saying is that we want that from men. We also want to be vulnerable, but we have to know that we can trust you enough with our feelings, trust you enough with our hurts, our pain, our happiness, and knowing that you're not gonna just take it and just like dump it.
I think that goes both ways.
Yeah, and just dump it. But we want to feel that. We want to feel that security that you're not gonna just leave us. That security of like you're not just gonna hurt us. Maybe somebody else not hurt us in the past, but we want that. We want you to be open with us because it allows us to be open and more vulnerable, and for us to be more that have that intimacy part more often than not. So then it brings us closer together as well. So it comes in with that friendship. So then it allows you to be more friends or get to know each other a lot better when you're on that level of being vulnerable.
Not only does it allow, but for me, you know, sometimes I have that reaction because it's like vulnerability to me is very it's timely. You have to pick the right time to be vulnerable. When it comes to what men want and to what women want, it boils down to a lot of the things that we want is the same, but we approach it in different manners.
Yes.
So, you know, for me, I like when she is unpredictable. I like when, not like crazy unpredictable, but fun unpredictable. And, you know, I like it when she initiates. I like it when I can get romantic gestures. But see, the thing is, like when they want us to be mind readers, we kind of also want the same thing without actually saying it. So it boils down to being able to not necessarily read each other's mind, but read each other's body language, learn each other. And it takes time. It really does take time. It takes effort. Patience. Patience is, a lot of times we don't have patience. And that's what happens with us men when it comes to the intimacy part, the touching and all that stuff, to warm our wives or, up to, the sexual intimacy part. A lot of times we just like, we just want to go straight from home back around to home with, what I'm saying, like not even knocking the ball out the park. I mean, we talking about just running. Like, so, honestly, what it boils down to, what me as a man, I respect and honor my wife, and I respect and honor the things that she does for me. And likewise, she respects and honors the things that I do for her.
And appreciate. Like, say that too. Like, I appreciate you working hard. I appreciate you being the man that you are. I appreciate your flaws, because we have to know that we're not perfect. They're not perfect. We're not perfect. It's not going to happen. So appreciating each other, like you said, the respect part. So you want to be respected, but you got to respect each other. And that's in everything. Communicating, like he said, is really just the communication is so important. So whether it is verbal or nonverbal, it's so important, because that you get respect in all those different areas when you're communicating the right way.
Yeah.
And knowing, like you said, the timing of communication. So as my husband said, we women and men, we really do want the same thing. It's just on different levels. And they may want certain things more often than we want them. And then I don't know. but like with women, we are more, I say our emotions play a big part of what we do in our relationship, how we approach things.
Women are more emotional creatures than men are.
Yeah.
Like, and we, not to say that we're not emotional creatures, but we don't show it as much. Like, so, know what you want, express what you want, and work on it together. Because all it's going to do is build a stronger relationship between you and your spouse or your girlfriend. And it will allow you to have the freedom to be expressive, to be vulnerable, and it'll also afford you the time to get to know your loved one, your significant other.
Being with the person that you love is all about having fun, exploring new things, and doing life together. Like, yes, like, let's do life together. Not just get through life. Like, oh, we just got through that. But no, doing life together and finding that balance where like we said, the bad outweighs the good. So you can have that in your relationship. You definitely can. Some people just like, I can't find it.
And you do not want the bad outweighing the good. Trust me.
Yes. But even if you feel that way, you can always, as long as you wake up in the morning and see another day, you have another day to change the outcome of your relationship in your life.
I love the way you just said that.
Thank you. So thank you all for watching us.
Please make sure that you tune in again next week.
Yes.
Because we coming with some fire.
Yes. So thank you all, and we will see you soon.
Peace.